My name is Carl Koster. I'm the Executive Director of the Industrial Liaison Program. I'm not Trond Undheim, who was first on the schedule, but I swapped with him. So welcome to our new facilities. I don't know what you think of it. Huh? All right. I want to thank Mike Lawson out here, our Director of Communications, for all the great design work on putting it together. We got this together in 2 months after the previous people vacated the rent, so great. So as I say, I'm the head of corporate relations at MIT and our industrial liaison program. The Startup Exchange that this workshop is a part of is a feature of the industrial liaison program. This is a program that's been in MIT since 1948. We have over 225 major corporations from around the world that are part of that, and we're providing not only access to the MIT faculty and research engine, but also now to a set of MIT-connected spin-off companies. So we have developed a platform of over 1,100 MIT-connected companies. These are companies that not only use intellectual property out of MIT, but that are founded by our alums, by our faculty, and others. So we're delighted to make this feature available to the large corporates. We were just out, Trond and I and the other team, in Mountain View, California in January. We held a workshop like this at Samsung's Innovation Center there. We were oversubscribed. We had to cut off registration at about 250 people, given the size of the room. But one of the things we learned out there that the major corporations, of which many, again, are ILP members, about 80 major corporations this past year have announced the creation of new strategic venture funds that are actively pursuing startup, small company relationships as part of their knowledge and technology acquisition strategy. So we're very delighted to be able to participate in that way. We have, as Trond I'm sure will explain, a set of workshops coming up. We're holding monthly workshops here in this building. This is the first one on this floor. They'll be here going on from now, but they'll be in themes like robotics, fintech, food, water, a set of other technologies, so to sort of focus thematically in where areas that make the most sense for all of us. We also are planning to have a startup workshop receptions around our ICT conference, which is coming up in April, as well as our food and water security JWAF's conference, also in April, which is a new initiative at MIT. So with that, I think I'll hand it over to Trond, but first I do want to thank the key faculty that are here. This is, of course, we depend upon the faculty to generate the kind of advances and participate in the corporate world, and our program wouldn't exist without it. I want to recognize Professor Bob Langer in the back here, who will be up. Bob is, as you all know, a serial entrepreneur, a tremendous faculty leader here, one of the real people who has made such an impact on attacking cancer through his work. So, Bob, thank you for being with us, and appreciate it very much. Trond, please. Thank you all for coming.
All right, so I thought that I would zoom a little bit in on today's topic, cracking cancer. So, since you're in the room, I think you think it's important. The unfortunate thing is it's important to most people, whether they're in the room here or not. And I think one of the ambitions of this workshop, and I'm sure of the work that you're doing, is to find a way so that cancer doesn't become so important in people's lives. We know that at MIT there is exciting work going on in terms of cracking cancer and cracking a lot of other very important problems. This is just a breakdown of the kinds of companies and tech clusters that we have. As Carl mentioned, 1,100 companies. Many of them use digitization and digital technology as their platform. On the biotech side, specifically, over 160 companies. If you look at specifically oncology or cancer focus in some way, Eric Vaughan here, my colleague, I don't know where he is, there he is, and I are compiling a report on this that will be available to our member companies, definitely. We'll see who else, about exactly what all of these startups are. Some of them are in the room here today. I'm not going to spend any time on them right now, but they span, all kinds of immuno-oncology and other approaches, from cancer care to gene editing, mapping, regulations, metabolics, you name it. The activity, if relevant, is going on in and around Kendall Square. Now, why does industry engage with our platform? We have, over the last year, really, built a digital platform, but as you see, very much a face-to-face connecting platform. We are very interested in making real, lasting partnerships between startups coming out of the MIT ecosystem and industry. Last year, we tracked, and I'm sure the number is much larger, but we tracked in our system 77 new startups in areas, just to give you a snapshot, very popular advanced manufacturing, big data analytics, and broadly health breakthroughs. These are three of kind of the main topics. In terms of what we have done over the last year or so, a year and a half, we have put together a large amount of these kinds of encounters, 10. We have also provided companies with a possibility to directly connect with startups. So if you are a startup and you are not on this platform, I think you're missing out. Our main objective is to create partnerships, and doing so, we think, will further a already advanced ecosystem, whether it is in biotech or in other areas. Here are some of the things that have happened even prior to our initiative, but that have in some way been connected through an MIT connection. When Merck acquired Smart Cells, and this was an entrepreneur out of MIT, I don't think that was a coincidence that they were working through the venture mentoring service. They were members of our program. Foxconn is another member. They were backing Whitricity. It's a very interesting startup now for healthcare applications. They have wireless charging, including of medical devices. It's very transformative. Aramco, another of our member companies, acquired Silurio. This is in the oil and gas field. Henkel, on the manufacturing side, wrote a big partnership with Dropwise. This is courtesy here of Irvin Winkler in the back. From our program, he was brokering and helping Dropwise with a lot of their business development. So just wanted to give you some examples of what it is that we do, because this is not just the platform, it's individual relationship building. And lastly, I think Samsung invested in Nutonomy. This is in the area of driverless cars, which, or autonomous vehicles, which is pretty hot at the moment. And even the absolute last thing that happens, and this is something we're particularly proud of, that we can be such a platform for startups. Tulip, which is one of the really newest startups out of MIT and the Media Lab and other places these people come from, kind of came out of stealth at our California workshop. This is a very exciting opportunity for a startup to basically immediately get industry attention when they need it. And they have told me that they're in deep discussions now with some very, very senior industrial partners as a direct result of one event. They're a very exciting company. Our members that have been engaged in this process include companies all across the board. They are some of the big brand names. There are also some niche companies, but they're most of them very, very large. It spans healthcare, manufacturing, IT. 1,100 startups. We can't really go through all of them, but here's some of them just that we have featured recently and that we brought to California. We're going to do more of this. We're taking startups on the road, essentially. This is one of our functions, to try to help create a legally sound but statistically unfair advantage to MIT startups. That's what we are about. Just to browse through some exciting startups. Luminoso, text analytics, taking that completely shattering really every expectation you had about just noisy Twitter feeds, turning into real information. We don't do this alone in any way. We partner with innovation partners all across campus. In a certain sense, ILP has always been the recipient of innovative companies. Now we're going a little bit deeper into the labs and the programs and picking up on where other innovation programs leave and helping those startups come out of the labs ostensibly. Empatica, building a monitoring platform for diseases wirelessly. Here is our database in a snapshot. We catalog startups. We try to do it very, very briefly. We have also some deeper information. We also produce custom videos for selected startups, so that this is way different than going on a startup's website. You get real deep information and stories about why the startup is there and what the story is behind the founders, the technology, and their MIT background, which is obviously our focus. Whitetricity I mentioned before. GVD out of Karen Gleason's lab. These are coatings. Formlabs, 3D printing. Dropwise, previously mentioned. Hakuna in the healthcare. Here are just a snapshot of startups founded with professors who are also founders of companies. And we have a couple of them here in the audience. I talked about opportunities. This is a template opportunity. Large company looking for startup in specific fields. You mention some technology keywords, prove your track record in working with startups, and then we match, and startups can apply. Carl mentioned we had an exciting program. Here is some of the stuff that's going on. It's really monthly workshops all across the tech fields that MIT is engaged in. We also have corporate presence in large events around the world, in Japan, Brazil, and in Europe.